Right, hello. March the 14th, Pi Moon. Okay, the blood moon that's going to be on March the 14th. This is an interesting date. Obviously, there's heavy tie back with Madonna with this date and the ideas that surround this date. Okay, and again, the idea of the blood moon, which is the moon coming back into balance with the sun and the earth. Obviously, that idea of coming back into balance is a death and rebirth ritual. Okay, is a death and rebirth, well, ritual, but sign. Okay, so again, this is a pretty obvious date for Madonna to croak on. Okay, we had, obviously, Donald Trump was born on a blood moon, and obviously the idea of a goddess dying on a blood moon would be extremely interesting in terms of death and resurrection. Now, another thing also to remember before we get right into this is the other thing to remember is, just as we see that the blood moon is the idea of the moon coming back into balance with the sun and the earth. This is again obviously the counter opposite, or the counterpart to the solar eclipse, because the solar eclipse is where this thing is on the other side of the earth, blocking the sun. Okay, and so we have the idea of those two events essentially are tied together because they're just counter opposites, just like heads and tails on a coin, one side of the coin to the other side of the coin. Okay, so again, when we see this symbolism, we're thinking about the tie-in with the solar eclipse, the tie-in with Easter, and then of course the tie-in back with Christmas. Okay, and so we're dealing with Christ symbolism, and we're dealing with those kind of numbers that tie around with Christ, like the 33, and obviously numbers like Christmas, and numbers to do with solar eclipses as well. Okay, and what's interesting about Madonna is March the 14th, or the numbers for March the 14th, pi. Okay, that number ties in with Madonna very close to a recent eclipse that we just had, and that eclipse is also going to tie us in with a potential date for the Hoover Dam as well. So all these ideas tying together, well, we're going to go through some of it now, and I'll just keep jumping backwards and forwards. Again, this is going to be a bit all over the place. There's a lot to do in this video, actually, in a very short space of time. And the caveat again to this video is I'm leaving a ton of stuff out of it to try and make it a little bit more palatable to people, because the last thing people want to do is sit and watch an hour and a half video on this. So a couple of things to note. There's a ton of references in Back to the Future to pi. Okay, obviously the obvious one is Einstein, the dog, that does the first jump. Okay, and obviously Einstein's, the scientist, mathematician dude, his birthday is on this day. Okay, it's 314. Okay, so there's this important tie back in Back to the Future. Obviously there's the pie plate that saves Doc, and the bullet goes through the head, through the hat instead of through his head, just like Donald Trump has a close call with the ear wound. There's just a ton of little references in Back to the Future, okay, to all of this stuff. Now, just a couple of things before we get off of this page, okay. Totality for this eclipse. Okay, 66 minutes. Madonna is 66 years old right now. And what we'll see is that it's 66 minutes, 3.9 seconds. So we could take that 3, and I will show you a number jump in a minute that will tie to that. But 3.9, 39, is Hoover Dam number. The birth of the Hoover Dam is the 30th of September. So 39 has been incredibly connected to all of this. And we'll see this now. We'll see this in a minute. Okay. Anything else to really report back on this? Obviously, Saros cycle 1, 2, 3, 50, 53 of 72. I mean, these are all interesting numbers. We've got the 118 at the start of this number here. So all interesting numbers. But really what I want to do is I really want to go to, before I get into the number jumps, I really want to go to another symbol that ties us in with pi, the idea of dividing up a circle, if you like. And yeah, let me show you something here, because this is super duper interesting. Okay, so what we want to look at is the dartboard. Okay, and we want to look at Madonna's dates and how this ties into pi and the numbers of pi in here. So what I've done is I've taken this dartboard and I just stuck it in paint and I drew a cross in it, because anytime we're looking at balancing something, just like the blood moon is balancing the sun, the earth, and the moon together, right? The cross is, a physical representation of balance. Okay, so what we have here is this cross. Let's grab a different color here so I can highlight some of these bits and bobs in here. So the first thing we want to do is we want to look at Madonna's. Why is that so small? Hang on a minute. We want to look at Madonna's birthday here. Okay, so there's her birthday numbers, 8, 16. Okay, and so if we go across this big pie here, yeah, you can see the sections of the pie. If we go across in a straight line, okay, what we actually have opposite Madonna's birthday numbers across the pie is the numbers of pi, 314. Okay, so we have her birthday, this potential death date here, 314, the numbers of pi, and then they are crossed also with 172 or 271 and 125. Okay, is opposite that. And again, 125, again, remember that 12/25 is Christmas. Okay, an important day for, coming back into balance. Okay, 17. This is, we've just been looking at this connection with Diana. This is her birthday, the birth of the goddess. Again, we've been looking at this number in connection with this, some earlier videos with the idea of reflective, with the idea of mirror numbers surrounding this date this year. Okay, and surrounding the idea of Donald Trump going back into office on a certain date that tied back to Diana. Notice that also that Diana's death date also falls on this cross. We've got the 8 here and the 13. So we could read this backwards, 318, the 31st of August, So this is also, this also ties in with, other goddess symbolism, okay? But right now what we're dealing with Madonna is, she is the black pearl right now. She's the old crone. If you look at the way she's portraying herself, that's what she is, okay? And so, in order for her to come back into balance, she has to die and be resurrected. And so we have to have this event, which is, the idea of the blood moon. Up until that point, we are in the tomb still, yeah? We're inside her, inside the black pearl, inside the matrix. Jesus, to be reborn, that moon has to roll out from in front of the sun, yeah? The rock moving away from the tomb, which is the moon rolling out from in front of the sun, and then it comes around and rebalances with the earth, okay? with Jesus and Christ, the Son, and what that does is it creates the blood moon. You know, we've got the moon on the opposite side now, okay, to where it was. So you have to have the death of something like Madonna, somebody like Madonna, and then, you know, that ties into the idea of an eclipse, or, you know, a lunar eclipse or a solar eclipse, and, you know, and we're going around in circles with these ideas. But, you know, anyway, what I'll do is we'll come on and I'll show you some of these connections now with the number jumps to these dates, and this date in particular as well. Well, it's not really a date, it's a number that shows up with a number jump. But yeah, let's look at the number jump between this date and this date now. Now, where have I got it? That's the question. But you can see, this is a big pi. This is her birthday, and here opposite is pi numbers, okay? So let's find her birthday, okay? Oh, we'll come on to that in a second, but I want the bigger birthday, okay? So we'll go from her birthday and her birth year, so the full lot, right? 66 years, 21 days, okay? 21 days, 210 days. So I'm getting distracted. The cows are out there, they want their breakfast. 66 years, 30 weeks. This is really interesting. 66 years, 30 weeks. We don't have the 9 days, but if you remember the totality, so let's just flip back to this really quick. If you remember here, 66 minutes, 3.9 seconds. Okay, so we're very close. Yeah, we're very close on that. Okay, 66 years, 30 weeks, 0 days. If it had been 9 days, it would have been perfect, you know. But there's something that's better about this number here. It's not obvious from the get-go, but there's something better about this number jump here. There's 24,317, right? Let's click it, and what we see is it's the 2701st prime number. Okay, so the 2701st prime number. Now remember, when we go back to this, yeah, we have this number here, yeah, 2, 7, just stick an O in there, 1. We've got this number, and actually it's reading correctly as well in this direction, okay? So that is super duper fascinating, okay? If we come back onto, let's come back onto, let me explain some stuff. So before I explain, well, let's just do this first. This will require you have seen a few of my videos for this to make full sense, okay? But 8/16, her birthday last year, this day through to her birthday, sorry. So the 14th of March through to her birthday, 8/16, is going to be 155 days. Okay, so her birthday backwards to this date is 155 days. Now remember, 155 it's one of these numbers. It's a number in the dollar bill that encodes maybe the beginning and end of a cycle. I'm going to show you why in just a second. I'm not going to show you the number jump in the dollar bill and all that stuff. It's all in previous videos. But remember, Madonna had the video, had the song Die Another Day, which was in the Bond film, okay, Die Another Day as well, by the same name. And her release date for Die Another Day her song was 1/22 or 10/22, which was October the 22nd. So it had 122 numerology. And again, with this particular date, 155 is the mirror of 122. Okay? So this is a mirror date, or a mirror number, sorry, for 122. So Die Another Day, again, this is another number that ties in with that idea of flipping a date to get to another date that would indicate the death, i.e. Die Another Day. Also note that 221 is in here as well, with 22 weeks, 1 day. So this is doubly interesting here, I think. Okay. here we go with 5 months, 2 days as well between this thing, and she did her Super Bowl stint. I believe it was the 5th of February when she did her Super Bowl halftime show. So, you know, because we've got a little time Super Bowl here as well with this particular date. I believe in iPet Go that there is a reference to the blood moon. Either, I don't know if it's before that scene with, or whether it's in the scene of the Black Madonna with the dying Madonna, the Black Pearl Madonna with the Christ child that's dying as well. Okay. So what am I thinking of? But there is that tie-in with the Super Bowl there as well, which we're going to come on to here in just a second. Okay. So bearing all that in mind, what I need to show you now is the reason why this 155 is also interesting is because if we go to, there's a couple other number jumps here. Okay, so we've done before the time with 1010 to Madonna. We're looking at the 10th of October here through to Pi Day, which is also 155. So if we go from Pi Day back the other way, we get 1010. So this 1010 is now corresponding with Madonna's birthday. Yeah, so we're going from Pi Day the other way now. Now 155 days. Now again with this 1010, we had a tie-in. This date here is a tie-in between her and Billy Idol. It also ties back with her and Guy Ritchie. I'm not going to go back through it all right now. If something happens, maybe we'll dig into it and go back to some of the previous videos that I've done on this, and I'll show you those connections. But there's just no point in rehashing everything out for every single video that I do about Madonna croaking. There's just no point to it. But this is in the back catalogue. But the most important thing about 1010 is on the old $10 bill, 1010 references the same fold on the $1 bill that then gives you the damn fold. Okay, so 1010, this 1010 date is super duper important. Okay, in relationship to the idea of the Hoover Dam and the idea of the dam collapse that's programmed into the dollar bill and the $10 bill. Okay, so this is super duper important. Now let's look at the other 155 stuff as well, which is actually on the dollar bill. Again, we've got to go from, is this the right one here? No, we'll do that one in a minute, and we'll do that one in a minute, and we'll do that in a minute. Okay, so 9/11 with the 155 again. Okay, it takes us to 4/9. Okay, now I've shown that there's an awful lot of connections with 4/9 to Madonna. Okay, and I have a personal connection myself to the numbers of pi and to this particular date, which then also ties Madonna back in. I don't know how to explain this without doing all my numbers, which I don't want to do in public, but I have a personal synchronicity with this particular date, which ties Madonna's 410 day, which we'll come on to in just a second as well, which ties back to the 4/8 eclipse. Okay, so we'll do that in just a second. But what we need to know is that on the dollar bill, there is a number jump. In fact, let's go to this one first. On the dollar bill, there is a number jump that ties 9/11 into the number 213, which is the start of Lucas numbers. Okay, and Lucas numbers have encoded within them a lot of numbers to do with Pluto. They have 148 encoded in them, 248 encoded in them. So there is this tie-in back with plutonium and Pluto. Okay, again, this, you know, I mean, it's just so, there's so much to explain to allow you to understand this easily, right? But you know, believe you me, this all ties together. 239 is going to tie in with this in just a second. Again, back to Pluto, okay, and back to you know, they're all mirror dates of one another. They're all sort of echoing each other, should I say, more or less. Okay. So this is the start of Lucas numbers. Super duper important. I mean, when she did her Super Bowl thing, there was the reference to the Lucas Oil Stadium or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it's Lucas Oil that's related into her Super Bowl reference, her Super Bowl halftime, and that obviously tied back in with the Hoover Dam. And I've done all this stuff before with her coming in on the throne, the golden throne, and everything, which is the Hoover Dam. So this particular number jump can be reversed. So we can do just like we just did with Madonna's number jump. We can go from 9/11 now back to 4/9, which is this day after the eclipse. Okay, like being in the eclipse somewhat as well, which is 155 days, which is our next date coming up for the Hoover Dam. I'll probably do a video when we get a little bit closer, discussing 4/9 and the Hoover Dam. I've done it before, but we'll just go back through it. So we'll do that coming up shortly. But this is the next big day for the Hoover Dam. Okay, there's several other big days coming up in between now and this date, but this is one of the bigger days. Okay, so what's going on here is this is echoing, Madonna's death would echo this idea here, and this date would now be echoing 3/14. Okay, so we have that going on. Let me show you the tie-in now with her birthday and the eclipse. So the eclipse happened. This is the actual eclipse day. So this is her birthday through to the eclipse, right? It's 239. So there's our 239 numbers, which connects back to plutonium. Okay, and also 4994 is also plutonium as well. Okay, so when we're looking at atomic numbers for plutonium and etc., or numbers that are in the periodic table, this is important. Okay, and 94 is important. Okay, or 49. Okay, so this is well important, right, with the numbers of plutonium. Again, Lucas numbers all ties into plutonium. Now this, if we go on, this is the particular date that ties into me, okay, right? And then if I go on another day, this particular set of numbers ties into pi. Okay, this set of numbers is in pi. Let me show you that. But this again, we got 4:10. This is the time at which the clock stops in Back to the Future. The tower, the goddess, stops. Okay, so 10:04 is that time on the clock tower. Yeah, super duper important. Oh, snooker table. I might go into that. I don't know if I will or not. But let's look at the first 20 digits of pi. So there's our 23979. Now, if we look in the first 20 digits of pi, if we read these numbers backwards, 23979 is right here. Okay, it occurs at the 13th place through to the 17th place or 17th digit of pi. So this is really interesting because obviously M is 13. Obviously pi starts with 3-1, the number, reverse 13, and M is 13. And what was I going to say else about 13? Just to keep it simple. The Hoover Dam. Yeah. The federal takeover of the Hoover Dam was on the 1st of March. Okay, 13 again. Now, so this is that set of numbers that goes from her birthday to 4:10, which is right just 2 days, So this idea with death and resurrection and rebirth of Marty going into the eclipse 4:8, coming out of the eclipse 4:10. Yeah, the clock stops at 4:10. The death of the Matrix at 4:10. So this is all tying together, all these ideas. But this is another connection to pi. It's just another connection to pi and to an eclipse. Because we have to remember, again, it's a flip of a coin. We've got the solar eclipse, Yeah, flipping now to the lunar eclipse. Yeah, to the blood flowing from the dam. Yeah, the Colorado River, which is the Red River, the blood flowing from the dam. So this would, again, if this was to happen with Madonna, this would then start encoding, would go some way to encoding back to the Hoover Dam again now. Okay, because it's all the same blooming symbolism, and it's all the same numbers that are just tying around in circles. Okay, so a couple other things that I want to show you with this, okay, is let's go through the rest of these number jumps in here. So let's just click through and make sure I've done them all. Yeah, we did this. We've done this. Okay, we've done this. Okay, from the 25th this year, so the 125, which in the dartboard again, of course, hang on a minute, you know, here's the 125 in the dartboard, and don't forget, this is really important because it's echoed three different places in the dartboard. 125 comes together right here at the top of the dartboard, and again right here. They've stuck those numbers together, so it's obviously very important. Obviously, it's also on the dollar bill. Right at the dam fold underneath is the numbers 125 in the picture frames. Okay, so people that watch the channel will know what I'm on about. People that haven't, aren't watching the channel regular, probably don't know what I'm talking about there. But again, picture frame numbers, but more importantly, it's Christmas. Okay, 48. Okay, 48 days through from there, which is the eclipse reference. Yeah, don't forget. Well, what I'm going to say, don't forget. Right, let's just carry on. Okay, nothing there, nothing there. We've just done that. This is the Hoover Dam through to her birthday. I'm going to show you this one because there's something interesting that's going to occur. I've got another date coming up, and I'll precursor it in this video and just talk about it very quickly, but it's for the next video, which I may or may not get done tonight. I don't know, but it's super duper interesting. So stay tuned for the next video. But we've got the same numbers, which is this 326, which is a flip of the 9 here. And what is interesting about this is this year, New Year's Eve synchronized the 326, which is her release date of Who's That Girl? Okay, so it ties all back in with the Hoover Dam again. But 39, okay, which is on the tail end of the totality there, 3.9 seconds, 66 years, 3.9 seconds. Again, through to this day is 73 days. The day of the year here is going to be the 73rd day of the year because we have synchronized. We've got the dam synchronized with the day of the year. So we've got the 73, but what is more interesting is, let me pop this on a bit, and this will become relevant in just a second, is the idea of, oh, that isn't coming out on the date that I thought it was. Okay. I guess we'll forget about that. I had something in my head there that was different. Oh no, yeah, it does work. Hang on, because all you have to do is do this. Look, we have to fudge it. Okay, I knew I had it fudged some way or another. This day here, right? So we've got this set of numbers again, which is very similar. If we just flip this 6 to a 9, and we're dealing with. Hang on a minute. Where's that gone now? We're dealing with. I forgot where that was now. That's just right next door, Dan. We're dealing with this 23979, and we're dealing with 32679. Okay, so there's 79 on the end of here. This is important again, because of course when we were looking at that thing, obviously that end date with the 17th, at the 17th digit again, tying back in with Diana, tying back in, and also don't forget Di, Lady Di is 49. Okay, so 4 and 9. Okay, but so that 7-9 also ties in with gold. Okay, so gold is the atomic number, or the number in the chart. the number in the table is 79 for gold. Okay. Now, what is interesting about this is this 319. So I'm going to do a little bit teaser of stuff here. And what I'm going to say is, I think that this date coming up is going to, I think what's going to happen on 319 is Donald Trump is going to announce he's going to go to Fort Knox on 319. And they're going to open up Fort Knox and go inside, potentially not find any gold in there, or gold missing, or a lot of gold missing. Okay. And I think that's what's going to happen on 319. So I've got this decode coming up, okay. But already I kind of started looking at this because Dennis Milkovic left a comment, and I was talking about a dollar bill that references 319 with him, and he was talking about I think it was a Prince song 319, and obviously 319 is on the Prince album Gold, okay. So I'm thinking this is what's going to happen on 319. Trump is going to announce they're going to go to Fort Knox. They're going to open up. It's going to be empty. Now, what is fascinating about Prince's album 319 is that what's on there as well is a song called Pussy Control. Now, there is a Bond film. Obviously, Madonna ties back in with Bond quite well. There is a Bond film called Goldfinger. Most of you will have seen the film, okay? And in Goldfinger, the crook, Goldfinger himself, is going to set a dirty bomb off at Fort Knox and essentially wipe out the US gold supply, okay? Because nobody's going to be able to go near that gold supply for a certain number of years. I think it ends up being 58 years, interestingly enough. So there's a really good decode coming up on this, I can assure you, and this tie-in with the dollar bill as well. And so I'm going to be doing that decode, but there is a super duper interesting and tons and tons of connections to this now. You can go. I suspect a lot of you will now go and start looking at it before I've done the video on it, but I've got a huge amount of number jumps. I've got probably a 3-hour video on it, and that's just the tip of the iceberg sort of stuff. But not doing it today, but this is what is interesting about this number with Madonna and the Hoover Dam date here, the tie back in with this number that is very, very close to the pi set of numbers, and this tie in with 79, which is gold. So let me show you also, this is part of the reason why I started looking at this as well, was the fact that gold equals 3870 in the gematria, and Madonna did this video, the funeral rites video, which again ties back in with a whole bunch of stuff, right? But she had this revolver here. Now, this revolver, I just was guessing, and I'm still guessing, that it's a 38 special, okay? So 38 special with this revolver ties back to gold with the gematria, with 38, okay? And there is a ton of 38 number jumps that tie in with all this, right? But I just wanted you to know that, because when we look at the next video that I'm going to do about this 319, this ties in heavily. Now, Guy Ritchie also did a film called Revolver, and the idea about that's contained within that film is there's a reference to the green, to the idea of the Matrix, to the idea of the dollar bill with the characters in that film, and there's the idea of gold in the film as well, and gold being an illusion, or gold being missing, and gold not existing. So the tie back in with this Guy Ritchie film and all the numbers that are in it and what is going on in the film also ties back to the idea of something being missing, i.e. gold. And, even if the gold is still at Fort Knox, what you have to understand is what is trying to be conveyed with these ideas is the idea is that gold is missing from the green that we use right now. From the dollar bill, gold is missing. And that is important. That is what is being conveyed. So maybe the gold will be missing at Fort Knox, maybe it won't. But what is being conveyed, or what Trump is trying to highlight out to people, or what reality is trying to highlight out to people, is this gold that's at Fort Knox is not tied to your currency that you are using. And because of that, it leaves you in a vulnerable position. And because of that, we could see the fall of the dollar bill. And we will see the fall of the dollar bill because it's the conclusion of what is going on with the escalating debt. The actual dollar bill is the note itself is the debt, okay, that you cannot reclaim. Okay, what will happen is when the dollar bill goes, that will be the end of the debt. The debt will disappear because the dollar bill won't be worth anything. Okay? But anyway, so this is what we've got going on here with the 38. Let's do a number jump. Let's do a few number jumps actually. So the first one is, let's carry on with the 38 stuff. No, let's carry on with no, I don't have a 38. We'll backtrack this in a minute to 38, okay, so you can see. This is again, we're back to the Super Bowl here with the 2-9 and the 33 with the resurrection of Christ at 33. Also, the sun and the moon come back into balance. This is a cycle with the sun and the moon coming back into balance. Okay, so just as you have that 19-year cycle, the 33-year cycle is those two things coming back into balance. Okay, just as on the blood moon, we're going to have those two things back in balance, yeah? So that is important, right? From Super Bowl, with the Christ figure and the Mary figure and the 33 resurrection to this date. So that is well important. If we go from Christmas, we got the 79 popping up again with gold. Okay, so that is well important. And then, what was the other thing I wanted to show you? Hang on a minute, I was going to show you. Let's backtrack with this 33 back to 38 just to see what it is. Oh, from that day, let's click on to 38 and see. Okay, so from Super Bowl through, that was what it was. It was 38 days on to 319. So we're going to be looking at this gold connection again with Madonna again, okay, and with the Hoover Dam and with the dollar bill. Okay, so I think I've pretty much done everything. If we go back the other way, let's just see where it was, 2-4, nothing super duper interesting there. There are several other references. There are a few other number jumps that I probably might. I mean, I've got a ton of number jumps written down for this 319. So I mean, you're welcome to drop number jumps and comments in the in the comments, stuff about this. What's coming up with 319? I'm all ears, but I have already done a lot of this. I've already spent several days looking at this, so I've got quite a lot of stuff written down on bits of paper to go through. But yeah, somebody else might have something else that I haven't thought about yet. Okay, one last thing just to finish this off: the snooker table, 147 on the snooker table. Is your top break, 148. Pluto numbers, okay. Notice that these three balls are lined up in the arc here. We have the sun, and you'd have to call the brown the earth, the rust, the iron, okay. Which is what the core of the earth is, yeah. It was a molten iron core, yeah. So this iron reference, and then we have the green. So because you can change these around, you know, the earth is also green, but the matrix is green, the metaphysical is green as well. So what we have here is we have the blood moon symbolism. You know, the green here is the matrix back in balance with the earth and the sun, and we have the moon on the arc right here, yeah, the cue ball, which can be at the sun or the moon. It's just very interesting. And again, we got the pyramid down here waiting to be broken. Again, we have that symbolism at Fort Knox. If you look at it, it looks a bit like a step pyramid. And if you look in I Pet Goat, we also have the pyramid that's destroyed. And also the pyramid is the money scheme, is the money making scheme, or the money printing scheme. Okay, that is important to understand how that wealth transfer works. Okay, so I thought, well, this is a good one to leave it on, quite interesting. Yeah, thanks for watching. And of course, the end of that break, when you have the break, the end of the break results in the black pearl. That's the last thing that drops. So again, fairly interesting stuff. And the number 7 again, yeah, again with gold 70. Okay, so all right, thanks for watching. That's probably way longer than I wanted the 10-minute video to be, but yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on another one soon. I've probably left a lot of stuff out of there, by the way, but yeah, anyway, all right, bye.